Good morning, Xbox Nation. I am your host, MrBooMStickXL, and I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Man, I have really dug deep, and I'm talking about digging myself all the way through the earth to China from the US to get these stories. They are some stuff that people are talking about, but most you won't hear anywhere else. And that's why you tune in each and every week to this particular Xbox program. And I'm going to say this: I'm going to get up on my totem pole. I'm going to get and I'm going to shout to the sky. This is the damn best Xbox show in the morning, because obviously at night you have a couple of them. You have Xbox Nation, you have RDX, and those guys and those panels are fantastic. But I'm going to take the title of best Xbox show in the morning. Now, of course, and I say this all the time, if you're going to have a show that's making numbers, that's getting fans, that's giving the people what they want, you have to have a co-host that I consider not only a friend, but a brother from another mother all the way across the pond. My very good friend, the Welsh Gamer. Welcome, Drew. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm really happy we partnered up to do this. I couldn't be having any more fun.
No, thanks for having me, Boom. Currently, I'm sitting in a shit-free room.
Nice.
The dog has pooed outside. I've kept it downstairs. I've locked myself in this room. I am safe from all the dog poo that can come at me. I'm excited to do this show without a stench of dog excrement to my left or right. Let's rock and roll, Boom.
Yes, well, listen, dude, anytime you have a shit-free zone, you know the world's a better place, end of story. But we have to move on immediately to a big topic, okay? And you and I have spoken numerous times on the air and off the air about how we feel the Ninja Theory purchase was one of the biggest ones in a long time. I mean, let's face facts, folks. Ninja Theory have in their past put out a tremendous amount of very strong, character-driven, adult-themed single-player games. And as word as would have it, single player games apparently still matter in 2018. Perfect example: God of War, Detroit Become Human, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, I can go on and on. And the story that I'm going to talk about, I pulled from Dual Shockers, because, of course, one of my biggest talking points is giving credit to where I get these stories. I don't have a lot of insiders giving me a call, but I am going to give a shout out to Old School on Twitter, who constantly drops megaton bombs into my DM. Big shout out to him. But you know what? Let's talk about this. The British developer Ninja Theory may be unveiling their next project to the public as early as next year, according to Xbox Phil Spencer. And this news couldn't come quick enough, to be completely honest. After Phil Spencer shocked the gaming world in E3 2018 on stage, where he announced not only 4 purchase studios, but of course breaking out a new one, the world went crazy. Well, that rumor has once again reeked its head about the Ninja Theory game. Now, again, we've talked on the air about hearing. Again, I don't know anybody in Ninja Theory, so take this with a grain of salt, folks. But I have heard from the grapevine, from tipsters, that out of all the purchases they've made, Ninja Theory's game is the closest to being announced and unveiled. And I honestly couldn't be happier, because you know what? Microsoft needs first-party titles. They need if you're going to sell the system, besides Gears, Halo, and Forza, you got to kind of just put the little meat out there and trap that rabbit, and you're good to go. But I want to get your take on this. For you, Drew, I know that you've said publicly the Ninja Theory purchase was your favorite, and for good reason. But do you think it's necessary that we see something early 2019?
Well, you know how salty I am after XO18.
Yes.
I think that they could have, frankly, if the rumors hold any weight, and this new IP is the closest to being finished, I'm still rather salty that there was no show or no tease at XO18. But burying that hatchet, water under the bridge, because I don't want to put people off and bore people with my ranting and raving. This is phenomenal news. Bottom line, if we are going to see Ninja Theory's new IP for the Xbox console, the Xbox umbrella, the new exclusive, the fruit of your labor after the acquisition made and announced at E3. That is going to be a great way to start a year. That is literally all I can say on the matter. I am truly, truly, truly Boom, and I cannot overstate this. I am truly excited to see what it is. Whatever it is, I can't wait. I really can't wait. I can't wait to play Hellblade when it drops on Xbox Game Pass, as I have not
Next
played
month,
it.
as a matter of fact.
Oh man, I mean, I've played a little bit of it over at my friend's house, but I haven't actually played it properly from beginning to end.
Oh,
So I
dude, you're
can't
gonna
wait
love it.
to dive in.
What a fantastic game. What a strong story. She's a strong female lead with a lot of problems, and it just, man, it's an experience that I think that if you haven't gotten it yet, and you have Game Pass, guess what, folks? Next month is going to be early Christmas for you because that game is phenomenal. But you know what? I want to continue reading the story. According to DualShockers, during an interview session between Inside Xbox host Julia Hardy and head of Xbox, of course, Phil Spencer, the pair began to pivot towards teasing upcoming studio announcements. Now, we remember that, which we now know, of course, are Obsidian Entertainment and In Exile Entertainment, which I think are big, big pickups. However, during this tease, Spencer began to talk about Ninja Theory, a studio acquired by Microsoft way back in June 2018. Phil Spencer talked about the thought process behind acquiring the large studio, of course, large studios like British developer Ninja Theory, adding that it's about the cultural fit for us. Do we have something to add to the studio? And that's important because obviously they do bring a lot, and their main focus has been, and it could change, I don't know, but has been strong, extremely strong first party stories. I'm not first party, single player, games with strong characters, with strong stories. And now, being that it's going to be a Microsoft first party exclusive, that in itself is a big deal. But this is what he had to say. I just want to confirm it. It's really fun to not only see what Ninja Theory has done in the past, but look forward to the next year and things that might come. So basically, he's telling everyone, look forward to the future, and we could get something soon. Drew, let me ask you. Obviously, we're coming up at the end of the year, right? And 2019 could start out strong. It's already starting out strong with Crackdown 3 for Xbox. Well, let's get that out of the way. But if you have a good, strong launch with Crackdown 3, and then somewhere in there, the media gets a hold of, maybe a media drop from Microsoft about what Ninja Theory is doing, how awesome could that propel Microsoft all the way going through 2019?
It'll pave the way. It'll literally pave the way. It'll set up like a direction for Xbox to go in, and not just Xbox as a company, but Xbox as a fan base. Like if everyone, like, February time, you've got Crackdown dropping. I don't recall if it's February or the following month, but around the same time you've got like Ori, Will o' the Wisp. You've got a few good things to start off the year anyway. And then just to top it off, the cherry on the cake, a bloody news bomb at your feet. Hey, while you're having fun with these games, mark your calendars because this game's on the way by Ninja Theory. I mean, it'll keep people looking forward and not being left in the wind in the sense, because that's one thing we can all guarantee, we can all agree on. Like Xbox up until now with marketing and all that stuff, a lot of the time in between the big AAAs like Forzas, your Gears, your Halos, Quantum Breaks, whatever ones you want to name, State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, whatnot. Sometimes you are left hanging like, oh, what's going on? Like that's one thing, like me and you both said before, Boom, we can say Sony has done consistently and quite frankly impressively and amazingly, even though those aren't words, but still over their PlayStation. That's at E3 and every possible advert you see, they're always showing you games. Okay, granted, some of them could be 3-4 years out from being released, but it still keeps the grins on the gamer's face, and it keeps people excited, and people are looking forward. They're not stuck thinking what's next. So a big news bomb at the beginning of 2019 to say, hey, enjoy these games. These will carry you through the first couple quarters of this year. But looking forward, you've got something to look forward to on top of that. I think it's taking a leaf out of the Sony handbook, and I like it. I think it's good. It's good marketing. Hello?
Sorry about that, dude. I had put you on mute for a second to answer the chat, and I was talking to myself.
Oh man, you scared the shit out of me, and I thought the Google gods were punishing us for something. Oh
You
man.
know what? The only thing the Google gods can punish us for is for being so energetic and excited to talk about Xbox, which is what we're going to do today. So listen, this statement pretty much guarantees that we're going to be hearing about what Ninja Theory is working on in some way, shape, or form. And you know what? I could not be happier. I've said it publicly, privately. I've written notes to myself. Ninja Theory, big purchase, first party studio, and that means a lot. But let's move on to the next topic. Okay.
Sorry, before you carry on, did you hear what I said, or did I cut out at all?
No, you perfectly clear, dude.
Oh, that's all right then. Christ, sorry. Just because I couldn't. I know you said you muted yourself, but I was just worried that. Carry on.
No, we're actually good. I just would, like I said, I want to talk about the next topic. New State of Decay 2 free DLC announced at XO18. It's called Zed Hunter, and it arrives soon, November 16th, folks, which I believe is tomorrow. And you know what? There's, like my good friend Salty always says, if it's free, he'll take 3. And I'm hoping that all the DLC moving forward is going to be free for a lot of reasons. First of all, whether you know it or not, I happen to really, really enjoy State of Decay 2. I put well over 60 hours into the game. I had 3 different communities going at once. It was just a lot of fun. It was a bit of stress that you only experience in those permadeath type games, which I'm normally not a fan of. But you know what? I really enjoyed this. I'm a big zombie fan. But you know what? Microsoft has a ton of new content coming to its biggest Xbox One and PC games. And of course, that includes State of Decay 2. During XO18 in Mexico City, the company gave the fans the first look at Undead Labs' next update, for their zombie survival title, Zed Hunter. Zed Hunter arrives as free DLC, like I said in the opening. Drew, I have to ask you this. First of all, when State of Decay 2 launched, it got a couple of snags, right? You know what I'm saying? It didn't launch scot-free, if you will. But of course, everything that they had problems with were immediately addressed. The game is running fine. People are playing it. There's been at least a few million people, actively playing that game. But, after a while, because of course we're in the fall, older titles seem to get left behind because newer titles are coming out. And the way you keep older titles fresh, especially if it's like a game of service kind of a title, you introduce free DLC. Some companies like Activision and like EA are still using the old methodology of pay this, pay that, pay. And I'm really happy that Microsoft does not go that route anymore. They're giving their players more content, but guess what? It's free. How important is free content to this title to constantly keep updating it for the franchise moving forward?
Well, I believe I've said this on this show before. The gaming industry as we know it, the gaming community as we know it, we almost, not everyone, but a vast majority of people are stuck, or not so much stuck, but live in the "what have you shown me lately" mentality. So even though State of Decay 2's been is it's already launched, it's been on the system now for a while, people are playing it. For the most part, if you're not one of these people who are actively playing it every single day and replaying it and just playing it because for whatever reason, a lot of these other people are forgetting that it even exists because of games like Red Dead and Fallout 76 coming out soon. And people get distracted, hence the term, what have you shown me lately? So when a game, any game for that matter, has DLC or some sort of like, come back to this game, little bit of carrot on the end of the string, it's a good, mate, it's a good idea. But the problem is, like you alluded to with like Activision and EA does it. There's plenty of other companies that do it. That, okay, granted, they support their games and they want you to come back and everything, but it's always the case of, oh, you got to pay this, season pass this. What I do like, and I know you said it as well, Boom, the fact that they are making it free, like they did with the Halo add-ons and
Yes.
support, like they did with Gears. I think it's amazing. Sea of Thieves is going into its 4th expansion or event, should I say, since launch, and it's completely free. The game's transformed massively. And State of Decay 2, yes, while it started off a little bit bumpy, they fixed it. They've been supporting it, and what a phenomenal game, Boom. I already said to you, like, it's up there as one of my favorite games of this generation. It's just an amazing franchise. But what I will say, though, I gotta say this with this Zed Hunter DLC specifically, the new weapons aimed at a more
yes.
What I think's cool, man, I need to point this out, and people in the chat, if you agree with me or understand where I'm coming from, please let me know what you think. But I do think it's really amazing how the developers at Undead Labs pay attention and know their game so well and the style of their game that they know that literally just by adding a few stealth weapons will completely transform the experience. Like, no joke, just by adding the crossbow and they have literally, people might not know it until they like go into a new game with the crossbow and stuff like that. But they have pretty much given you a whole new game for free, because that'll change the whole experience. Mark my words. The style of game State of Decay is, the way it is true to life in the sense that like everything you do could be the last thing you do. Having a crossbow instead of a shotgun, which was pretty much your only choice of like long distance weapon. You either had handgun, rifle, shotgun, anything. It was loud. It could attract attention. Having the double barrel shot at the crossbow, just that alone, despite it's just a different feel. And I think I gotta say, I just respect the hell out of Undead Labs and how much passion and detail goes into the making of their game. They pay attention to the style of their game, and the style of gameplay and what the gamers want and how the gamers play their game. That they're integrating this whole new dynamic in as simple as it looks, with just a crossbow and a few other weapons. It will literally breathe whole new life into the game. Because if I mark my words, anyone in the chat, anyone listening, when this Zed Hunter thing drops, create a whole new save, create a whole new community, and use these crossbows and stuff like that, and see how exciting and different the game is for you, as if you've never played it before. I'm telling you now, mark my words, I love State of Decay, one of my favorite games of all time. I know that game back, from the back of my hand. I know how it works, and I know that having the ability to do stealth is going to be a very, very interesting concept, which is for free. They've pretty much given you a whole new game for free. I love it, Boom.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. That you're a tough act to follow, because you kind of really knocked it out of the park. But before I go finish my particular point, Smitty Smith in the super chat, $10. Thank you so much, dude. It's greatly appreciated. He says, because you and Welsh are freaking top notch, along with the moderator of the universe, of course, UK Dazarus, who is scheduled an ass beating for me. Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take him on live, and I don't know where we're going to broadcast from, but he's been wanting to kick my ass for a while. So let's see if he does, or who knows? Maybe Boom surprises the world and beats UK at his own game. But continuing with this particular topic, and I thought this was interesting. game design director Richard Fogg described the new weapon as a stealthier way to take out enemies. You're able to quietly fire bolts at zombies from a distance without drawing attention to yourself. These bolts will also stick to the environment, so you'll be able to recover them if they don't break. Now, what you said about when I played the game, there's a lot of times where obviously you have to search for things, right? You have to search for food and gas and weapons, and sometimes every now and again there's 2 or 3 zombies that like say your sniper, your silencer broke, and if you fire one shot, yeah, sure, you're going to kill these 3, but you're going to bring a whole bunch of people towards you, and you don't want to do that. So this new crossbow is fantastic. But in addition to the crossbow, the Zed Hunter update introduced 3 new quiet melee weapons, as well as a 6th, which is a new consumable. And you know what? Again, you said it. Free updates extend the life of games. And considering that to be fair and honest, I haven't played in a while. I mean, I'm trying to get through Red Dead. I put that back down because I needed a break from the slow pace, so I went back to Assassin's Creed. Then, of course, Fallout 76 came out. I'm trying to get more than the 3.5 hours I have. It's a bit of a heartache because I'm slightly disappointed. But that's a topic for another show. But I'm really happy for the free DLC. I'm really happy that, they're going to continue supporting this game. And eventually we're going to get, now that they're a first party studio, a State of Decay 3. And who knows, it could be that big AAA giant, $50 million game that everybody wants. And you know what? That's great for the series. It's great for fans. It's great for Game Pass. But you know what? If you have nothing else, Drew, I kind of want to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I have nothing to add other than State of Decay is just another example of the gift that keeps on giving. Xbox games, that it's going to have life beyond its initial release, and that's what I love about all the games. State of Decay is one example. I think it's amazing. Carry on, Boom.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, 1 year ago, when the future of the Xbox platform seemed extremely bleak, changes were made where certain Microsoft bigwigs were given their walking papers in the form of a get the fuck out, and Phil Spencer was promoted to Executive Vice President of Gaming, and who has a direct ear of Satya Nadella, who is the Chief Executive of Microsoft. Important moves were made in 2018 to right the wrongs of others. Now, we know that change is hard, and turning a big ship like the Xbox platform takes time. Well, now the Xbox platform has a total of 13 first-party studios making games for the platform. And who knows, possibly more, because, listen, we've heard it before, that their checkbook is open and they're constantly looking for maybe they of course they're not going to buy an EA, they're not going to buy an Activision, but some of these smaller companies that just need a little bit of financial help to kind of have them put their games out. And if they find a home at Microsoft, they're going to have the backing of one of the biggest companies in gaming. Okay, now we've all saw the pictures, right? We saw Microsoft Studios pictures. You have to remember the ramifications of what happened in 2018, okay? Microsoft Studios, when you looked at this picture, the entire bottom row was not there, okay? They have purchased and made for a total of 7 studios in 2018. They more than doubled what they had. The significance of this cannot be understated. So, Drew, my question to you is this: not picking on one particular company, but just looking at the mass amount of studios that are going to be making games in 2019, in 2020, in 2021, and 2022. The potential to retake first place or even tie with Sony is really looming at the quality of what we're going to see Microsoft put out. What are your takeaways on how big 2018 was for Microsoft?
Well, once
I mean, it's a
again,
loaded question to be fair.
no, boom. I wouldn't have it any other way, dude. Keep the loaded questions coming. It gets my brain thinking. Gets me having a brain sweat, my boy. But no, you said it best. Like, I think we had like what was it, 4 or 5 studios, and then all of a sudden it was like, bam, here you go, 13. It was like,
They
oh,
had
okay.
okay. According to the paperwork that I have in front of me, that's right, folks. I have actually paperwork in front of me. They had a total of 6 studios in closing out 2017, and now we're almost at the end of 2018. They have a total of 13. That's something to talk about.
Oh, mate, this is huge. This shows that Xbox means business, and that they literally have no intention of taking their foot off the gas anytime soon. Like, let's just look at it in perspective of it, in a different perspective. It has been a crazy growth spurt since 2013, since Phil took the Xbox shoes. Phil, as an individual, like as a leader of this platform, he has embarked on journeys to secure position in the Japanese market. He's, like the gamers wanted. He's managed to secure more Japanese titles, JRPGs, more and more making their way over to Xbox. Phil has even delivered us the most powerful console ever made, just like the gamers asked for. And now the most recent narrative that is in current circulation, that was created by none other than the ponies, has been that the Xbox has no games outside of Halo, Gears, and Forza. So in a nutshell, this is Phil's answer to those morons. And that when you put it in a nugget and tie it with a little bow, and isn't that just beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful sight? That's literally like the most evil man in history, Hitler, for example, taking a shit on your doorstep, and you plant a rose in it just to spite him. It's like, smell those roses, Hitler. You ain't getting to me. It's in this case, Phil's been thrown nothing but negativity, hate, more negativity and hate than I think most people could even handle. Like, I know I couldn't handle that much negativity. If every decision, everything I was doing was being met with negativity, Christ. I mean, you've got to give him a tap on the back just for that.
Let me tell you something. They were peeing, saying it was raining, and guess what it was doing for Phil Spencer? Just rolling off his back, and he just kept it moving.
No, and I commend the man massively. He knows how to handle the pressures, negative and positive, of this industry, and he's done nothing but answer back, not with spitefulness, not with horrible remarks, not with childish words or phrases or cussing or anything, but with answers, in the sense he's listening to the gamer. And this is just one more notch in his belt, Boom. These 13 studios total, and there's no sign of it stopping. We'll get to that in a bit with like Matt Booty and that, but it's just a growing arsenal. And what this means in a nutshell, Boom, is Xbox is not taking their foot off the gas. If anything, they're putting more gasoline in the tank and then revving that bastard up. They are mowing people down in their wake, ponies included. They are not stopping. They have one goal in mind. And at this point, I don't think I need to say what that goal is. I think it speaks for itself. This is just one bit of evidence on top of a mountain of evidence that Xbox is going to bring it in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, next gen, the gen after. They are not going anywhere, and they intend to bring it.
Well, you know what? The one takeaway. First of all, when you look at Phil Spencer, now I've never had the pleasure of meeting him. Maybe sometime down the road, where the channel gets big enough, I get invited to an E3 or a Gamescom or something like that. And we're so far away from ever doing something that big. But who knows, right? Stranger things have happened. I would just love to take 5 minutes of his very valuable time, shake his hand, and just tell him thank you. Thank you for not giving up on the brand. Because listen, everyone knows, if you follow me, that I'm a multi-console owner. I praise Sony when I need to. I praise Nintendo when I need to, and of course, I give Microsoft the shit as well as the handshakes. But Xbox is my console of choice. It has been since the old OG Xbox launched. I mean, again, I've always been a multi-console supporter, but the Xbox brand is, I bleed green if you cut me. And and after shaking his hand, I would, and telling him thank you, I just like to take maybe 90 seconds, maybe 120 seconds, and just say tell him what he has done for this brand in the last couple of years has been nothing short of monumental. And the fact that he has said publicly that they'll never be behind in power ever again, and that first party games matter, and single player games matter, and games as a service matters, and Game Pass matters, and Xbox Live matters. It just, if I'm going to say this, I'll end this particular topic with this. If by some chance you were on the fence about leaving the Xbox, or possibly getting into the ecosystem, because multi-console owners is becoming almost like you wake up in the morning and you take a pee, right? That's the way that the business is going, because these consoles are becoming cheaper and cheaper. You know what? Take a look at what they've done in the last 12 months, 18 months, and see the turnaround, and just imagine how bright the future is going to be for this particular brand. And more importantly, the fan base that has stuck around, that took all of the bashing on Twitter, on Facebook, through social media, through the mainstream media. So I'm really excited to see where they're gonna go. And even though, like I said, even though XO was disappointing for some people, like I said, I gave it a B minus, 7.5, and obviously, Welsh, we know how you felt. I still think that the future for this brand is extremely bright, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing. But if you have nothing else to add, I'd like to move on to the next topic.
Mate, there's nothing more I could possibly add. It's just fantastic news.
Okay, well, listen. Forza Horizon 4's first expansion was revealed at XO18, and based on that trailer, I'm going to say this. I am blown away by what they continue to do at that developer. I mean, it's just, when you think about where the series was, it's always been a top-notch racing series, even from its inception, right? We go back to Forza Horizon 1, and it just took racing in a direction that it hadn't been, right? It made racing fun. It made going off the course, accessible, finding barn finds, knocking trees over, crashing into your friends that were driving in front of you with the drivatars. And it just seems that every iteration of this game, they just constantly keep evolving. And I'm going to say this. The first expansion is going to, obviously, they've already said it's the biggest expansion of the entire franchise. And that's really saying something when you look at, Blizzard Mountain, and you look at the one that was on the Typhoon Island, I believe it was called. And you had the Hot Wheels DLC. It just was... Man, it just keeps getting better and better. But I want to get your take on this, Drew. You obviously are in the UK. Playing this game was pretty awesome for you, because you actually got to see real life locations that you're familiar with. And I think that in itself, it adds more realism to the game. How excited are you for the first expansion called Fortune Island for Forza Horizon 4?
Well, can I just say this first and foremost? Like on just how impressive the expansion looks. Who are we as mere mortals to question the excellence that is Playground Games?
I don't think we can. I think we should be shamed if we did.
Oh, mate, honestly, like who are we as mere mortals? I say, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, how can anyone even be surprised at this point? The standard, the level of quality that Forza Horizon brings to the table, Playground Games brings to the table. Forza Horizon as a franchise is the lead racing experience, even surpassing the motorsport series in popularity. A reputation well deserved as Playground Games further prove their worth as a game developer, and reaching ever closer to their goal as the best developer in the world. So it's no surprise to me that they are raising the bar yet again with the first of presumably many big expansions of Forza Horizon 4. And my God, just from what I've seen, Boom, it looks phenomenal. from like the Northern Lights and the Aurora Borealis and all these different things, like the mountainsides, all the water, well, it's an expansion for a reason. Like the map that you've played on already, as big and as beautiful as it is, you're talking just expanded upon, and it's the biggest one they've ever done. And then, like we spoke before, Boom, about like with the Hot Wheels thing in mind, there's really no limit to what they can bring in the future. Hot Wheels, bloody James Bond, Halo, anything. Like there's literally no limit. And to say it's impressive, I'd say at this point is an understatement, because Playground Games just seem to make the impossible possible. Like I honestly never thought that, like for me personally, I'd have this much time in my, this much respect for a racing game. I put racing games to bed a long time ago, and this game, Forza Horizon 4, while I haven't played it recently because of Red Dead 2, which is a no-brainer, what a fantastic game it is, and I can't wait to go back to it. And the quality, that the content is just wow, man. Like, how is it possible that Playground Games have put racing on the map in a way it's never been done before? I think honestly, like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a racing game over the last like decade or so that is as well thought of as Forza Horizon. And that is surpassing, like I said, the motorsport series, the popularity. Like Forza Horizon has earned its place at the big boys table when it comes to like the racing experience, as it adheres to everybody, and the expansions are just testament to that, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. Like I've said before, literally, Playground Games are having such a blast over there. They're so happy with grins ear to ear. They're literally looking at the gamer and just being like, right, I love you guys. Here's some more racing places you can race around. Here's some new places you can run around with your cars. It's all good. I think it's just great, man. There's anyone who could pull a negative from this kind of news is just being stupid.
No, listen, what you said is the truth. Listen, to say that the Forza Horizon, first of all, to say that Forza Horizon 4 is the best racer on any platform of this generation would be an absolute ridiculous understatement. But I'm going to go even farther than that and tell you that the Forza Horizon series might be the best racing series going all the way back to the previous generation on the Xbox 360, hands down. You have to remember, something. If you're new to gaming, first of all, I have to say welcome and good on you that you're getting into gaming now, where it's not sticks and dots like the old bastard here where I started, right? You're getting great real life graphics out of the gate. So if you're that young and you're getting into gaming now, man, I'm very happy for you. But back in the days, folks, you have to remember, the king of the road was Gran Turismo on the PlayStation, and they held that title strong for years upon years. And here you have these two little studios come out and release games like Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon 1, and people are like, Xbox, they can't do racing game, boo. And look where we are now. First place, second place, third place, it's just all Microsoft, right, when it comes to the racing genre. And it's only going to get better. I'm going to be honest. As excited as I am to get hit by lightning in this game, and I'm hoping that it happens so I can put it out on Twitter so everyone in the world can see Boom just got struck by lightning. I'm looking a little bit further, because with their DLC expansions, what it seems like we get a weather-based one, right? And then we get a fun one. And I don't know, and that's actually going to be my next question to you, Drew. How the hell are they going to top the Hot Wheels DLC from Forza Horizon 3? Like, what could they possibly do to make racing any more fun in the next expansion?
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Andres Escobar. He said, "You two are getting up there as my favorite podcast, period."
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
That is phenomenal. Like everyone in the chat, big shout out. You are the reason why we do this. But comments like that is what certainly keeps me happy and keeps me smiling. So I appreciate that. I just needed to throw that out there. But in answer to your question, Boom, do you know the simple answer to your question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Listen to the gamer.
Yep, there you
I've
go.
said, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like the Hot Wheels one was Snake Eyes at a crabs table. That was a gamble. Like that could have gone down like a lead balloon. That could have been shit, but it wasn't. It was very good. It paid off. It went well. But we don't, as much as that was a risk, and I applaud them for it. What if I was them at Playground, I'd play it a little bit more safe. I would literally put the feelers out, and I'd literally be like, right, on Twitter, I'd give them like four
Do a
options.
poll. Yeah, do a poll. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Smart.
like I'd give them 4 theme options. Like example, obviously, like these are just throwing shit out there because obviously I don't know about copyright or infringements or marketing deals. I don't know, but just for example, hypothetically, like an Indiana Jones theme, a Star Wars theme, a Jurassic Park theme, and
Oh wow.
I don't know, you name a fourth one. Boom, I know, like a Walking Dead theme. So that's 4 themes. Any one of them are viable options that they can work on. They've already discussed it behind closed doors. But instead of them gambling or whatever, it's just like, right, guys, Twitterverse, here are the 4 options. Which one do you want? You've got a month to decide, and then we'll put the announcement out. And people just vote. That's what they should do. So if your question to me is this, what could they do to be better than the Hot Wheels add-on, and how can they make it more fun? It is literally simple. Listen to the gamers, ask what they want, ask what the fans of Forza want, and you can't go wrong then.
Well, you know what, dude? Again, very hard to follow up. You threw some things out there that I have to really I actually sat back in my chair and the cogs started to turn in my brain. I said, wait a second, Welsh Gamers onto something here. Could you just I mean, listen, I'm laughing. I know I'm supposed to be the very serious host, but could you just imagine by some chance, folks, these are wish lists, these are grains of salt. Take it like it, please. But could you imagine if they partnered up with a big name franchise and made like a theme park to drive your cars through? I mean, it's just what you're saying holds so much weight to the possibility of what the next expansion is going to be. Listen, if anyone from Playground Games listens to this show, and it's highly unlikely, but if you do and you like what you're hearing, Drew and I, our DMs are open. Hit us up. We don't want a lot. We just want, what? We don't even want a percentage. We'll just play the game early at your command, and we'll be good with that. But you know what? I want to move on to the next topic, Drew, because I think it's a good one, and it's another one that was brought up right before XO18 and Final Fantasy 13. That particular trilogy comes to Xbox One backwards compatibility next week, and based on what I gathered from several Xbox gamers on Twitter, it's a big freaking deal. Now, you might be asking, why does the Welsh Gamer and Boom continue to bring up the topic of backwards compatibility in every episode? And the answer very simply is this. First and foremost, I'm a huge supporter of this program. I think it gives back to gamers in a way that cannot be overlooked or understated. And secondly, it still continues to be one of the most discussed topics on Twitter. We as gamers, as people that are on Twitter, as people that are on social media, we run in not a tight circle, but most of the gamers that we're talking to now, they listen to the craps and the mooches, right? They listen to Dealer Gaming and Cult and Zalker 87 and the Glitcher and Saltiest Gaming, right? So we have a bit of a community within this, certain amount of YouTubers that everyone, reaches out to and likes to enjoy listening to. But with that said, one of the biggest topics that constantly keep coming up in all these shows are how amazing backwards compatibility is. And more specifically, see, for a guy like me, right? I loved Final Fantasy VII, loved Final Fantasy VIII, and I started after 8, kind of started to drop it into a lower gear, because there's, with those games, they take so much time, and with so many games coming out, you just where do you have the time, right? Well, I never played Final Fantasy 13 and the 2 sequels, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. And what we heard about these particular newest backward compatible titles is that they're getting X enhanced once again, proving that the Xbox One X is so worth the money. It's unbelievable. Drew, whether RPGs are your thing, how important is seeing something big like Final Fantasy 13 and its 2 sequels not only become backwards compatible for free, but also get free Xbox One X enhancements?
I've got 2 parts to this question you're posing to me, Boom, and it's simple. Whether you're a fan of these games or not, you should still be impressed with what they're doing with them. Whether you're a fan of backwards compatibility or not, you should respect and be impressed by what this feature is doing for a hell of a lot of people. And then that leads me to my second part of the question, which is like, why is this still such a hot topic? There's a reason why it is such a hot topic still, and it's very simple, Boom. And it's quite simple, in fact, that like people might not like to hear it, at least some people, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't pull punches. But no other platform is doing backwards compatibility to this level of efficiency for free.
Yep.
For free, people.
Yep.
For a great deal of people, these games that they're bringing back, in this case, Final Fantasy. Last week it was something else. Next week it'll be something else. Sometimes even with graphical resolution and frame rate upgrades to go with them, especially with the Xbox One X, are treasures of their gaming history being revived at no extra cost. When that is happening so regularly for a lot of people, like I said, you might not be a fan of Final Fantasy, but the people who are, this is massive. So, hell yes, it's going to be a hot topic on a regular basis, because oh my God, I'm going to wear this phrase out, Boom, but it's the gift that keeps on giving. Like,
say it, brother, say it.
Mate, honestly, like, what more can you ask? If it's, shout out to Salty, if it's free, give me 3, god damn it. Like, it's free. Like, you literally can't, like, and honestly, literally, backwards compatibility is a fantastic feature, and things like this make, just speaks volumes. Like, again, I want to clarify, Final Fantasy might not be your bag. Backwards compatibility might not be your bag, but you should still be respectful and be impressed with what's going on here. As for when that time comes, when a game pops up like, oh, they're bringing back this game, and it's like, and it just hits you, shit, I haven't played that game since the PS1 or the Xbox original. Oh my God, wow. And then it all of a sudden dawns on you, wow, this is why backwards compatibility is awesome, because they've brought back and revitalized and put new life into a game I've completely forgotten about since I was a child.
What else could you say, Welsh? I mean, you keep knocking it out of the park.
It's just amazing, man. Like, how can anyone who pulls a negative from these sort of topics when it concerns backward compatibility, I've said it before, Boom, they're either jealous, got buyer's remorse. There's something going on there, because there's literally no negative to take from this. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing feature which the game has wanted, and even the people who don't want it, like, it's not affecting you. It's just one day, I guarantee it, a game's going to pop up and you're going to be like, oh shit, I want to play that. But on other platforms, you wouldn't have been able to.
Well, you know what? I have to shout out a couple of people in the chat. Just first of all, the chat's been fantastic. I mean, you guys going back and forth with each other, of course, being fair and nice, which is what Boom likes. 2will2 said, and I didn't know this, so thank you for this. Boom, all of the Final Fantasy 13 games are part of the Xbox Black Friday sale. Well, guess what, dude? As soon as this podcast is done, I'm heading over to that system and I'm buying all 3 games. And of course, a very good friend of mine, very good friend of the show, James176 says Sony just brings it back and charges you for it. Well said, James. I cannot argue with that. Again, if Sony can squeeze any more blood out of the rock, it's going to be dust. But you know what? I want to say this, and I'll finish this particular topic and move on to the next one. I find that the insane amount of titles being added almost on a weekly basis is not only a fantastic talking point, but because 4 weeks ago, if you remember, Drew, and we talked about this, the hot topic on both social media and the gaming media was that there was a slowdown or possibly a stoppage of backwards compatible games because Microsoft was busy looking towards the future. You know what? It seems as if no matter what they do, they don't get the proper respect. Now, of course, the gamers who have Xbox Ones, who have Xbox One X, who get a chance to play these older games with the enhancements, we're taking advantage of this, but it just doesn't seem like it's an important topic to gaming as a whole outside of the circle, which is why we, as an Xbox centric show, will continue to keep pushing down the line and making sure that everyone knows how important this service is. But you know what? I want to move on to a statement from Matt Booty, and I want to break it down because I think that it's very important. He did an interview, and he had some interesting things to say, and I want to read exactly word for word, and then we'll break it down exactly what we think. This is directly from Matt Booty. He says, while the industry is growing across the board, there seems to be fewer teams and studios focused on mid-tier games that sit between the AAA blockbusters on one end and the smaller indie games on the other. Those are some of the kinds of studios that we're interested in partnering with right now. Studios with teams that could make quality, crafted games that just sit between mid-tier and AAA and become a part of our Microsoft Studios family. This gives them the ability to focus on the craft and bring innovation and accelerate their creative growth. Now, I'm gonna stop right there because there's another statement. But Drew, I heard a lot of shit on social media about this. A lot of and again, I hate having to keep reiterating this, but there are toxic communities on all platforms, folks. Okay, so Boom is not picking on Sony to be a dick. Understand that, but there is a dark side to that community that's so nasty and so disgusting that I block them on a regular basis. And I don't like doing that. But because they're so negative and they're so hate driven, I can't be involved because I'm a peaceful person. I love everyone. I think it comes across through the airways. And I love being friends to everyone. I don't like the negativity, which is why I'm so happy that my particular chat for these shows has been deemed by the people as one of the best chats in the business because it's a friendly, safe space. And I really dig that. But as soon as this statement came out, Welsh, the pony community, the nastiness of the PlayStation community immediately said, "Oh, you see, Microsoft, they suck again. Only doing AA games. They're shit." And this statement is so far from the truth. But I really want to get your take on how important it is to have a medium. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to go from 0 to 60 and forget what happens in the middle. And that's what Matt Booty is explaining. Please take it away, Welsh.
Well, mate, honestly, I've got a few things to say, but this is unscripted now. This is something that I just thought of the moment because of what you were saying. But like, that's the problem with fanatics, the ponies, the wrong side of the gaming fence. Like, I play games for fun. I mean, some of the most fun games I've ever played have been indies. Like, I've played some phenomenal games all up and down the spectrum. For people to insinuate that it needs to be of a certain like budget, or it needs to be AAA, or it needs to be this, it needs to be a unquote good game, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But to my points, in terms of what Matt Booty is saying, I think that this is a phenomenal, and I use phenomenal in capital letters, this is a phenomenal move in the sense that it's broadening the scope. Like you said, it's having a medium that scales up and down. It's not just fixated on just the one type of game, which is unrealistic at this point. You can't have however many bloody games, AAA, quadruple A all year round. It's not. It's possible if you've got the money, which Microsoft do, but it's just, it'd be stupid. It's not cost effective. It's not a smart business move. But bottom line, there's absolutely, with that said, there's absolutely zero problem. There is nothing wrong with Double A. State of Decay 2 and Recore prove this.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, those two games are arguably, I mean, like, you know, I can speak for State of Decay 2 quite confidently because the amount of hours I've put into it. That game alone should be the benchmark, should be the flag that they wave and be like, before you make a comment about double A games, take a look at this masterpiece. Yes, okay, it was a little bit bumpy when it launched, but you know, the odd glitch here, the odd glitch there. I'm not saying it was perfect, but what a fantastic game for fun factor, replayability, sheer awe of the zombie apocalypse, which I'm yet to experience in any other game. And that was a double A. So that just pretty much shits on the logic of these ponies. This just basically what Matt Booty is saying, what he's doing, what is happening here. He is basically guaranteeing more quality games all year round, like never before seen this generation, once the ball gets rolling. Likely by the time all these developers, AA, AAA, whatever, start, getting the ball rolling, as I alluded to, it'll probably be next generation by the time we see all these games flowing in a nice clockwork. So we get however many games a year or every 2 years, opposed to waiting 4 or 5 years, which can happen. But I'm just throwing this out there already, and I have fun while saying this. But I predict already the amount of times the goalposts have been moved, the amount of times the narrative changes. It's changed since 2013 just to suit the Sony ponies and their narrative. But the new narrative, I guarantee you, when these AA games start flowing and they start gaining traction and people are playing them and they're having fun with them, this will be the 3 new narratives the ponies tweet you every single day, Boom. I hope you're ready with the block.
Well, listen.
That's not a true AAA. That's number 1. Number 2 is, where's the AAA bangers at? Number 3, here's my AAA list, Walls. Let me show you my list of AAAs versus your list of AAAs. Gay. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. That those are the 3 pinpoint presentation bullet points of what idiocy you can expect. But in my personal opinion, this is fantastic. Bring it on. Bring on the hate. They can stew in their mess and cry all they want when they've got the 1,000,001th freaking walking simulator under their belt. But don't worry, as long as it looks good, whatever.
No, dude, you're absolutely right. But before we move further on this particular topic, I have to say a big shout out and thank you to Jay Zayas with the $5 super chat. And this is what he says: my favorite gaming podcast, hands down. Thanks, Welsh and Boom. And he's saying that I'm the Joe Rogan of podcasting for gaming podcasts. Well, let me say this. Okay, first of all, Joe Rogan, awesome dude. Remember, he started he's a famous dude, so he's had an incredible career. But I think personally, his talk shows are fantastic. Now, how I'm gonna rope this next little bit into what Jay Zayas had to say is this: I would love to get as big as Joe Rogan. And again, the only way that happens are a few ways. One, you got to hit the like button, folks. Please, because I'm constantly being browbeaten by Mooch. If you've ever heard him hashtag why is he yelling, just imagine if you're in a private DM and you're listening, or you're right before we go live on Crossfire. He's like, Boom, I have to keep telling you this. Tell me to hit the like button. So listen, I'm saying hit the like button, save my eardrums. And you know what? If you enjoy this Xbox show, pass it along to your friends, your other Xbox friends, your friends that might be on the edge of wanting to listen to something. Share this on social media. Help this channel grow. It is greatly, greatly appreciated, Welsh. But I want to continue with what Matt Booty had to say, and it goes right to what you were saying about list wars. He says this: it's not about filling a spreadsheet by any means. We will, however, have an interest in studios right now that fit the criteria of between 50 and 100 employees who are making games on a 2 or 3 year cadence and have content that we think will be of interest to our Game Pass subscribers. This means content that is a little different without our big AAA franchises getting in the way. And this is coming from the head of Microsoft Studios. Now, I mean, think about what he's saying there. First of all, I've talked about it. You've talked about it, how important Game Pass is to the platform. But more so than that, how important getting games into Game Pass that are Microsoft only, exclusives and are not just AAA, $100 million budget games. You need to fill this out with an even flow. Like when you're doing a garden, you're not going to have, one big hill on the left and a complete hole on the right, right? So you gotta level that out. You got to make sure that you're hitting on all cylinders. You have your indies, check. You have your AA games, check. AAA games, check. Guess what? The world's a better place. Drew, what he's saying is important, but let me ask you this. Just how important is what he's saying about Game Pass and these AA titles?
What I take from that statement, Boom, and I think you're going to like it, but from that statement, I interpret that as he's gathering a lot of talent from in the AA region, between 50 and 100 people to make games every 2 to 3 years with the Xbox Game Pass subscribers in mind. I'm wondering if this is his way of basically saying that the next phase of Xbox Game Pass is coming into effect. Where if we were to compare it to Netflix, as a lot of people do, Netflix was the network that housed a lot of third-party material from movies to TV series. It wasn't till about 2 or 3 years into its life cycle that it started pumping out Netflix originals. So I'm wondering if what he's saying with getting AA studios, smaller teams, a good cycle of games coming out on a 2 to 3 year cadence with the Game Pass subscribers in mind, first and foremost. I'm wondering if this is him basically in a nutshell pointing to the future of a Game Pass being a home to a lot of Game Pass exclusives, in the sense that like they might not all be like AAA, which doesn't matter. We've already established this, but that every 2 to 3 years from certain developers, you're going to get a game coming to Game Pass that is a Game Pass original. That's what I took from it. That's what I took from it in terms of a plan moving forward, like a new initiative that they're taking. But in terms of how do I feel about this, I think it's great. Give the little guy a chance. Like, this is what needs to be happening. Like these people, okay, just because their development studio doesn't have the 3 A's next to it doesn't mean they're not talented. Doesn't mean that they can't produce good games. I mean, look at State of Decay as a prime example. That was a indie game, an arcade title on the 360. 20 sweaty men in their grandma's basement made that game, shitting in buckets, eating marshmallows, living off beans and rice. And now look at them. Now look at them. Like they're one fart away from being a AAA studio under the Xbox umbrella. And that's all down to hard work and dedication. And these guys are no different. Matt Booty obviously has his eyes on a certain prize, and I do think it could potentially be the Game Pass original initiative that I alluded to.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. You have to look at when Phil Spencer was promoted, there was an absence, right? There was his old position was not immediately filled. And it appears that Microsoft hit a grand slam at the bottom of the ninth, 3 balls, 2 strikes, win the game 5-4, right? That when they got him to take Phil Spencer's old spot. And you know what? He's business minded. He's gamer minded. He's Xbox minded. He's everything you could possibly want in that position. But segueing into our next topic and keeping with, of course, Xbox brass, according to an article that I pulled from GameSpot, Xbox boss Phil Spencer very excited for the next Xbox. And this is what he had to say. When I look at our future plans, I'm very excited about where we are going in the console space. The reason why I love the consoles that we build is because I think we can build very special consoles. And this is what Phil Spencer said in the article. I see it today with the Xbox One X and how games run on the X. I think it's a fantastic place to play. When I look at our future plans, once again, he's super stoked about where they're going to be going in the console space. Now, listen, this article, which I will continue after getting your point, speaks volumes just as big as what Matt Booty had to say, and here's why. When the Project Cloud was announced, what happened? There were a tremendous amount of people hanging on the edge of madness, saying that, oh my God, we're going streaming. I need my disc. I need my console underneath the TV. My life is over. I hate gaming. I'm going back to Sony. Well, guess what? This proves, right? This statement not only proves that Microsoft is in this for the long run, but the console, what you're used to, the old school way, is going to be there for years to come. Sure, xCloud is going to be a way for people who don't want that big system, who don't care about 4K 60 FPS, that are okay playing in 60 1080p on their tablet, on their phone, in the bathroom, on the shitter. It doesn't matter, right? But this statement says that they're here to stay. Drew, I want to get what you have to say about this. And are you confident on what Microsoft will be doing in the future?
First and foremost, Boom, I just got to say, isn't it quite hard to believe that there was a point in time that haters of Xbox actually believed? I mean, actually believed Xbox was leaving the console space. I mean, I think I must have read those exact tweets so many times that it's etched into my brain forever. It's a free tattoo. I bet if someone opened up my noggin, they just see etched in the side of my brain, Xbox is leaving, y'all. Literally, it is hilarious. Like, man, future plans for the console space sounds very promising for Xbox. As an Xbox console gamer, growing up playing on consoles, it's very reassuring to know that even with xCloud, the alleged streaming boxes, and whatever other things that Xbox bring forward in terms of gamer options, which I'm not against, by the way, just to clarify, I'm all about options. More options is more smiles. At least we know, though, with all that said, that there is always going to be a traditional console option for the people who want it, myself included. I think it is truly, with all this in mind, Boom, the excitement from Phil and team, and the passion, the blood and sweat and tears that has gone into this fight, this uphill battle since 2013. Consoles are here to stay. They're very excited. It's not going anywhere. It's brilliant. But I think it is truly safe to say that Xbox will continue to strive to be the leader in consoles, from games to services, and of course, hardware and power. It's been a steep climb for Phil since 2013, but I truly do believe that since the One X dropped and the developer acquisitions were announced at E3 2018, those two things were the final pawns in Phil's massive game of chess. And I honestly, Boom, when it concerns the future of consoles, the future of games, the future of Xbox as a whole, it is nothing short of exciting. And I don't get paid to say all this, people. I know people probably think, Christ, is he getting paid for saying all that? He's like a walking, talking ad. But that is how passionate I am about all this stuff. Like that is from a place of passion. I bleed green, Boom, as you know. I'm a gamer first and foremost. I'll commend anything good in the gaming industry from any platform, any company. But these are the bullet points I put down for this podcast as to why the future of Xbox, with everything you just said, everything that was said by Phil, everything I just said then, is why Xbox is going to be a phenomenal force to be reckoned with come, well, pretty much every year that follows, right up until next gen begins.
Well, listen, let me just say this. For me, I get a few things here, Drew, from what you said and what was said in the article. First and foremost, I have 1000% complete confidence that the Xbox One X2 will, in fact, outclass the PS5 in every department. Secondly, by Phil Spencer making it blatantly understood that the traditional hardware will not be going anywhere. This, of course, should immediately calm people who are here now and who could potentially become Xbox gamers over the holiday. And I think those particular points are super important. I'm really excited to see where they're going to be going in the future. I literally think that it's limitless. And you know what? If you're on the fence, if you're new to the show, okay, and you're just kind of testing the waters to see whether or not the Xbox is for you. Should I spend the money on an Xbox One X? The very simple answer is this. Look at when you have, and I'm laughing, when you have the mainstream media going on Twitter, going on Facebook, Instagram, and making public statements about how they've had, 12 or 15 hours into a particular game, i.e. Red Dead Redemption 2, and they played it on their PS4 Pro, and then they saw it running on the X. They say, wait a second. Wait just a second here. I'm going to scrap that 15 hours of my life I'll never get back. And you know what? I'm going to play it all over again because it looks that goddamn good. So guess what? That should answer a question for you. But you know what? If you don't have anything further to add, Drew, I'd like to move on to the next topic if that's cool.
Boom, honestly, all I can say, mate, and I'd feel wrong in not saying it after how you just spoke. But like the Xbox One X is well, I've used this analogy a few times. If you've got strengths, use them. Xbox at this point is like a boxer beaten down in the corner. Since 2013, Rocky Balboa has been beaten down. He's in the corner. He's bleeding. His one eye is swollen shut. He hasn't got a lip to talk out of. He is battered and bruised. Bloody Drago's still coming at him. But he knows that he's got a mean right hook. He's been throwing that jab. And at this point, he's thrown a big jab to set up the right hook. That is where the Xbox One X came in. That's where these acquisitions came in. I'm telling you now, this right hook that's going to inevitably put down Drago, put down the haters of the Xbox, put my analogy come full circle. That is when we see all of these things come into effect. And by next gen, whether the next console boom, I absolutely applaud your confidence, but whether or not the Xbox Scarlet or Xbox 2 is or isn't bigger, brutier, better, more powerful, better graphics than the next PlayStation or next Nintendo, who knows? It's anyone's game, even though I agree with you. But all we can say for certain is that right hook is coming, and I can't wait to see how hard Drago hits the fucking ground. Anyway, you carry on.
No, listen, great points. Strong comments from both of us. Strong, really, really fantastic wordage from, of course, the chat. But you know what? This is a bit of a sore spot, not for me, but it's going to be for you. And, I send you these topics in advance, so I'm assuming you did your homework because obviously you are the finest co-host I've ever worked with. You're always prepared. I have to talk about it because, say what you want about XO18. There were a ton of highlights. There were a ton of lowlights. You know what I'm saying? We know what they are. Nothing like seeing Crazy Larry commercials to really just throw a monkey wrench into the effing engine and get us stalled. But regardless of how you felt about XO18, regardless of how it turned out to you personally, you obviously were very disappointed, Drew. And you said it. You said it live on the reaction show. And you know what? I tip my hat to you. I give you complete props for saying that, you know what? You're not a blind fan. If they make a mistake, you're going to talk about it. And we did. But here's the thing. I asked you to come up with 3 games that you thought were going to be there. That you were disappointed that we didn't even hear a peep about them, and I'm gonna go first on this one because I have to get this out of my system. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that even though I'm 48 years old, I love platforming games. I loved Super Lucky's Tale. I grew up on obviously the Banjo-Kazooies and the Marios of the world and Cameo, and it's just been so many fantastic platforming games over the years. Your Ratchet and Clanks, your Jack and Daxters. I mean, it's just Sly Cooper. You name it. I've loved them all. I have been a fan of them from the beginning. So not seeing a Banjo Kazooie announcement, it killed me. It hit me in the heart so strong that I actually was, I had to take a minute. I take a knee for, and there are two other games. If you follow me, you know that I'm a big fighting game fan. I grew up in the arcades of putting my quarter up on the glass to go next when Street Fighter first launched. My favorite fighting game of all time is Killer Instinct. The fact that we did not hear about a proper Killer Instinct 2, again, devastating for me as a gamer, especially an Xbox gamer, because those are obviously two first-party franchises. And you know what? The other one I'm going to say is this: we have seen tweets. We have I haven't talked with the developer or the director, but I've seen interviews with him, and the fact that Ashen was not there on display for everyone, considering that they just did a tweet a few weeks prior that this game is coming out in 2018, guaranteed on Game Pass. How is this game not out there for everyone to see, play, and make stories about? Just blows my mind. So, okay, those are my three disappointments. I'm really hoping that sometime before E3 2019 that we hear something on those three games. I hope that we do get Ashen before the end of the year. They promised. I'm holding them to that. As soon as I'm done with this show, I will be tweeting at them strong, being politically correct, of course, but I really want an answer on what's happening. Drew, I want to get your take on this. Again, you gave it a 4.5 out of 10. The only reason why it's not lower is because you'll break that down. But what are your three games that you walked away from XO18 saying, my God, I wish they were there?
Well, Boom, pardon me. Yeah, I gave it a solid 4 out of 10, and I appreciate your words, toward me and my thoughts of EXO. Granted, I know a lot of people enjoyed EXO. For me, I like Boom said, I'm not a blind fanatic. If I don't like something Xbox has done or is doing, I am the first one to call them out. And EXO is just one of those things. It was the night of missed opportunities. That is literally, I'm not even calling it EXO anymore. I'm calling it the night of missed opportunities. Ashen is another perfect example, Boom. I'm right there with you. But the three games that should have been at XO18 and why, I would have led with Crackdown 3's multiplayer. That was one of the more important things. But
yes.
Obviously, on the night they did show it, thank the friggin' Lord. So to go into my other three, I'll start at number 3. Not that it's in any particular order, but still. Whatever the Initiative and or Ninja Theory were working on, or are working on, they needed to, especially, I not because of any preference, but especially the Initiative, they needed, I can't stress enough, Boom, they needed to shed a little bit of light on the mystery that is the Initiative. I don't know why I don't know why they couldn't show something. I've watched the review we done back a few times now to just for perspective on the EXO at the EXO conference, and I firmly agree with what Elite Gaming Guru said at the end of the show when he said that all they had to do, they were having a pretty go steady show. All they had to do was just spin it on its head. Instead of just going, bye, that's the end of the show, and waving like a couple of weirdos at a bus stop. They needed to just drop a bombshell. Like, yeah, we're leaving, bitches. Eat a load of this pie. And just have, like, as they're leaving, a trailer or a teaser for whatever the Initiative was working on. They needed to do that, Boom. Whoever organized or directed or choreographed that event needs shooting. They literally need to be tied to a tree by ball and chain and shot, because that was a poor way to exit. But anyway, number 2, I have Fable. Now, this is an obvious one. Anyone who's an Xbox fan was expecting a Fable announcement. They were expecting. I certainly was. If people can honestly hold their hand up and say, no, I wasn't expecting Fable, big ups to you, because I certainly was, and I think that's why I left myself wide open to disappointment. The outcry needs answering, Boom. I've said this. I said this in the prediction show, and I'll say this now. They needed to show something Fable. They didn't need to go nuts. Just a logo and express the detail and what they're doing and when they'll be able to show more. anything like that would have done. But that's what I would have liked to have seen, and in my opinion, they should have had it there. And at number one, last but certainly not least, Halo and Gears. Halo and Gears is the 1-2 punch of Xbox, so that counts as 1 point here. That is why that is my number one. Halo and Gears are the forefathers, the Gandalf of the Grey and the bloody tree beard of of Xbox. They
nice
are
name drop, dude. I love it.
Oh, mate, they are the two pillars that hold Xbox to its heights. And they revived XO. Like, they revived XO 18. It was dead in the water. It had no reason to be revived, but they revived it anyway. And this XO conference is very well known for its big announcements, such as Gears for the 360, Halo 2 for the Xbox original. This was the home of big announcements. Halo and Gears were some of the best games in that franchise. Bore fruit at the XO conference in years past, and there was nothing Halo and Gears. How you can even fathom bringing back an Xbox conference and not having Halo and Gears, or just one of the two, that would have sufficed. I just think to bring back an Xbox conference and to barely have anything that screams Xbox, crap, absolutely crap. I've got that saying Mitchie dies a lot, saying we already knew we weren't seeing Halo and Gears. That might be the case, dude. Not taking that away from what you're saying, but that's not an excuse in my book. Okay, frankly, there might have been an announcement prior to XO that they're not showing, but why? Why not show? There's a new Gears coming out, and there's a new Halo coming out. It's XO. They're bringing it back from the dead. Show us something, anything. That's all I got to say.
No, you know what? Great point. Real quick, before I continue with this, Michael Johnson with the $5 super chat. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for that. That is greatly appreciated. He says, I think Microsoft is holding back a lot of announcements for the Xbox Scarlet official announcement. You know what, Mike? You hit on a good point, and you're probably correct. I think that, E3 2019 is going to be bananas. But I want to say this. Obviously, I'm very open about myself. I think it's a trait that more people should take. I enjoy putting myself out there. Sometimes you get kicked in the teeth, and you just get up and you keep it moving. When I was a New York City police officer, especially a young one, being in New York, there are a lot of buildings, right? And where I'm going with this point is this: I would, when I was new, blindly walk around the corner, not think twice about it, right? And that, of course, could have been the end of me. It has killed many police officers over the years. So as I got older, as I got more wiser, I started carrying a mirror in my right front pocket of my cargo pants. And when the corner was too big for me to see behind, I'd walk up to and I'd kind of just give a quick peek to make sure that someone wasn't waiting there to blow my face off, right? Well, how does that equal to Xbox gaming talk? This is how. 2018 XO 2018 has come and gone. We know everyone's opinion on it, right? Some people loved it, some people hated it, some people felt middle of the road, right? My question to you, Drew, is this. With what Microsoft has learned from the criticism of this particular event, what can they do to change the course of XO 2019? Will they learn from past mistakes, like a very young Boom police officer did before something terrible happened?
Right. I'm gonna just say this. Like, for me to sit here and point the finger and say that Xbox and Microsoft made a mistake would be wrong in the sense that, because I'm one of a minority probably that was disappointed. I'm guilty of getting my expectations really high, which probably led to why I was so disappointed. But the thing that they can definitely do is not hype it up so much. And frankly, but that's the thing. Like, again, I keep bringing this up, and I don't want to bore people, but I just can't understand why they'd have even brought back XO if it wasn't if there wasn't going to be some mind-melting announcements. It made no sense to me. I just kind of, for me, I don't like to get my expectations too high, but in this case, I let it get the better of me, because I just thought, 1 and 1 makes 2. Like, why the hell would you bring back XO? A conference with history of bringing out, bringing to the forefront huge announcements for Xbox. Why the hell would you bring it back 2018 if you weren't gonna, do some big announcements? Blah 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 blah. And I just ran with that. And so to say, sitting here, based on my opinion, while I was disappointed and thought they could have done a lot more, to say that they made a mistake, end quote, would be wrong of me, as it's just my opinion. But I will say this: they need to be a little bit more transparent. I mean, the whole beginning of that XO18, they were banging on about how Matt Booty has got some massive announcements at the end, huge, big, beastie announcements. And it was like, in the end, it wasn't that big of an announcement at all. It was an announcement that we all knew was coming, and that's that Obsidian was acquired.
Right.
So, just stop feeding us a carrot on the end of the string. Like, and Phil Spencer, I'm pulling you on him. I'm pulling him on this as well. He's the one who said at E3 that Playground Games has got some big announcements, big things to show us in the future. And then they revive XO. Everyone's talking about Fable, the Initiative, Ninja Theory. Everyone wants to know what's going on. Everyone's banging on about all these massive, huge announcements that are coming at XO. Matt Booty is going to lay the law down. Mark my words, stay to the end. He's going to blow faces off. And in the end, it was just a wet fart under the pillow. It was nothing to write home about. There was no headline. I'm taking a quote from Jay the Retro Gamer. There was nothing for the magazines and for the news articles to put on the top of their freaking article and be like, this is what happened, type, exclamation mark, bullet point. None of that. It was literally just a more exaggerated Inside Xbox show, which is fine, but advertise it that way.
Right.
Don't lead. For me, even though I might be part of a small group of people that were disappointed, there must have been something along the lines that led me to believe I was in for more than what we got. And that can't be my fault. Even though I'm not pointing the finger, I'm guilty of getting my hopes up for probably pipe dreams at this point. But like I said before, XO18 was the night of missed opportunities. And I just think XO19, if done correctly, could be an E3 part 2. They just need to just grab their balls and not be afraid, because this much, PlayStation, guys over at Sony, they don't give a fuck. They will show games that are 10 years away. Like, they'll show anything. They'll just to get wind in people's pants, man. They'll show anything. They'll show you a picture of a game that isn't coming out till bloody year 2050. But
it gets the fans excited, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, and in this case, we know that Xbox has games up their sleeve that are not 10 years from being made, but only a couple of years from being made.
2 or 3 for sure. Yep.
And they still refuse to show it. So my advice is this: going into 2019, when you're preparing for E3, don't blow your load don't blow everything you've got on that stage. Hold a few big bad boy announcements back, like 1 or 2. That's literally all you need, and save them for XO19. Because, okay, granted, it's a fan fest and people tune in just for a bit of fun, and people, it's not essentially meant to be an E3. But the way they advertised it this year certainly made me think we were in for some big E3-esque announcements, and they failed to do that. They could have easily done it as well. It's not the case of digging for the impossible. They have stuff up their sleeve they could have shed light on, and they chose not to. I just, Pink Floyd said Scalebound and Crackdown 3 is to blame. I completely agree. That's probably why Xbox are hesitant. But I think with Phil, Matt Booty, and team at the helm, the Xbox One X, all these new acquisitions, I don't think they need to worry about any of that anymore, in my opinion. I kind of wish I could get in the ear of Phil for 5 minutes and just give him a pep talk and be like, yo, dude, you've got this, man. You have got unfolding out of that fucking Battletoad shirt, man. You've got nothing to worry about. You grab your bollocks and you show the world what you've got, motherfucker. That is literally what I'm saying. So that is my advice for the Xbox team next year. That is my inspiration. Take it what you will, listen or not. That is what I would do. Just spread the love enough so everyone's happy all year round. Boom.
Well, listen, dude. Actually, again, knocking it out of the park. You can't argue with what you said. But we are at literally the 90-minute mark, and this has been one hell of a show. There's no doubt about it. Xbox information left and right, complete fire, start to finish, with no in between. We went 0 to 60. I'm happy about that. Of course, the chat, once again, I have to give you guys a shout out. You were awesome. Your comments to one another, absolutely fantastic. A huge shout out to everyone that donated in the super chat. Listen, this times are tough for everyone. We're coming into the holidays, and we don't do these shows for money, but when you do contribute, you absolutely help the channel grow. With super chats, that I get, after Google takes their 30-something%, I try to have constant giveaways where the fans that come out to support the show and some of my other shows are treated to, sometimes where if it's going to be a mug or a t-shirt or a gift card to your favorite streaming service or whatever. So everything helps. Even people, I've had people, hey, listen, I only gave $1.99, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Every dollar helps, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated. But of course, I can't do this show without my amazing co-host, and that, of course, is the Welsh gamer. Welsh, look, I've said this publicly, I've said it privately. I went through a lot of people, but guess what? You were the first choice. I made a list. I said, who loves Xbox as much as Boom? Who has their own show? Who is friendly with the community? And you were at the top of that list. And every show we have done has been better than the last one from the week prior. And I thank you for that. But tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter to hear your opinions. And more importantly, sub your channel on YouTube.
No, thanks, Boom. I love you like a brother, man. I have absolute respect for you, dude. And I just wish that, I hope one day we can meet up for a beer, because I think
that would be fantastic. Absolutely.
But in terms of where people can find me, the Welsh Gamer, 3 words, the Welsh Gamer, for my channel. Content's been light, but hey ho, what can you do? I'm a busy guy. I'll try my best to get more stuff out. As for the Dragon X podcast, I just want to formally announce that we will not be doing any more shows for the foreseeable future until my good pal MicroBox is well. He's taking a break at the minute, and I wish him all the best. But it's not the same without him, and I'm willing to wait till he comes back. So until then, wait for an announcement. In terms of Twitter, at the Welsh Gamer 93, one word. And I also just want to say one thing, Boom. Country Gentleman in the chat has my back. I love you, dog. You and the chat have been fire, but I'm picking you out specifically because he put, in quotes, Boom, first party will be leading the way, and third party will be there in a big way. These are the words that made gamers expect more. Could not agree more.
Yes.
That's what I remember reading that. Those were the words that I went into EXO thinking first party will be leading the way. We're going to see Fable. We're going to see Halo. We're going to see Initiative. Man, how can anyone not take that and think, fuck, this is going to be a huge first party showing? But it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It really wasn't. They couldn't have been more. That is a huge lie. But anyway, this is the outro, so I'm going to shut the fuck up. Right, Boom. Thank you very much once again. I love you, dude. Man, words can't explain the respect I have for you. This has been an awesome show. I'd say it's been one of my favorite shows so far. I've been going in on these topics. I really enjoyed it. That's the Welsh Gamer. Back to you, Boom. See you guys next week. Thank you very much for listening.
Appreciate that very much, Welsh. And listen, real quick, if you don't know, I did an unboxing of the Fallout 76 T51 helmet for the game yesterday on my channel. It's actually one of my longer unboxing videos. It actually is well produced. And I'm not saying that because I did it. I actually surprised myself. And a little inside baseball, because Boom loves the gaming space so much and loves this community. I nearly died at the end of that video in that helmet. It took me about 11 takes to finally get it right, because guess what? It's hard to breathe by wearing your glasses and wearing the microphone and having that tight thing on your head. It was a chore, to say the least, but it was a lot of fun doing it. I probably took off 5 pounds easily sweating the way I was. But you know what? Thanks again for everyone tuning into today's show. It's greatly appreciated. The feedback that I have been getting, that the Welsh and I are doing a great job, it is greatly appreciated. There are not many Xbox-centric shows, and I'm proud and honored to be one of those in the conversation along with the Welsh Gamer. So thank you for that. Anyway, have a fantastic week. FYI, next Thursday, there will not be a show. It's Thanksgiving here in the States. So I will be taking that time off to spend time with family. But we will return the following Thursday with the best Xbox news I can get my hands on. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy the holiday with friends and family. Please don't drink and drive, and enjoy the rest of the day, folks. Take care.